Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing out there in YouTube land? I'm here with my dear friend, Reed, and we're going to do the Spectrum SE game. We had the idea that, I think it was Reed's idea, actually. We had the idea, why reach a room full of people when you could reach the whole world?
Yeah, exactly. We've done this on the Street Epistemology channel before, and it seemed to have gone well.
Yep, and we did this at colleges and on sidewalks in Portland. We tried it yesterday, actually, in Portland, but we only got single individuals to stand on the line. It definitely works better if there are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. I think 5 is a good number of people to have on the lines. Although 4, you could probably do 2 people. Is it echoing a little bit?
Yeah, let me get that. It's my phone over there. Hang on. Keep going, though.
Oh, yeah. I think you could do 2 people if they stood on different lines, but the more intellectual diversity you have, the better it is. So in the background, just in case someone asks, there's a picture of Teddy, the love of my life, my former dog. We lost him in the pandemic, and there's a picture of Christopher Hitchens that a student gave me. It's with words. I think it's actually words that he's written from his books, or passages from his books. So that's the background. Okay, so we have a bunch of claims that we took a vote on, and I kind of want to get away from doing the trans stuff and the racial stuff, but I still hear the echo. But everybody seems to be obsessed with the trans stuff and the racial stuff. So I'm more than happy to do that. By the way, I have a really interesting story of something that happened to me yesterday. So when was I at the gym? Or two days ago. All right, but let's see. How many people do we have here now? Oh, we have a pretty decent number watching. And I'm looking at the claims. So these are the claims that I feel. Oops. We're dealing with a tech issue. Hold on. Anybody hear me? Oh, still echoing. So these are the claims that I think are really interesting. Can a statement be both racist and true? That's interesting. Can an action can be both racist and ethical? I think that's interesting. I'm trying to get away from the university stuff. Okay, so this was mine. This is the one that I put on. That literally, I've probably said this to 20 people now, and not a single person finds this remotely interesting except me. I'm the only. Reed doesn't find it interesting. No one on my team finds it interesting. Literally nobody finds it interesting but me. But I find it fascinating. One of those claims is mine. Can anybody guess which one it is? Let's see. Go back here. Anybody guess? No guesses. Oh, hey, former student of yours, multiple classes. Good. I hope you learned something. Did you learn something in my classes? I hope that you learned something. Okay, well, I'm just going to tell you. Mine is, should we revoke the U.S. Soldiers' Medal of Honor from the Battle of Wounded Knee? I find that to be absolutely fascinating on multiple levels, but literally nobody else thinks it's even remotely interesting but me. So I guess, and when we voted, we did the vote. We got no votes for that one, did we?
No.
No. Okay. So let's not do that one. So let's take a claim. So I think of those claims there, and you tell me what you think. A statement can be both racist and true is probably the most interesting claim.
Okay, we could do that.
I mean, do you think it's supposed? Should we do a vote again, or what do you think?
We can do another vote. Sure.
All right. So let's do another vote. We'll open it up for voting, and we gave the paid Substack subscribers a first dibs at this.
Yeah, we gave them a heads up. A heads up about it.
Yep.
All right, I'll do 2 minutes. Everyone can get 3 votes. And there's a link to this in the description, the Miro board. All right, we'll join the voting. What do you want to do?
I want to do my own claim. I'll be the only one. I'll be the only one who vote for that. Yeah, U.S. Soldiers Medal of Honor.
This one.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I want to do, can a statement be both racist and true?
Okay.
And then
One vote left.
God, this is all about race. I mean, that's just so interesting to me. Ooh, that's a good one. The best arguments will always win in an honest and good faith conversation. That's kind of cool. I'll vote for that.
I will hit done. 1 minute, 20 seconds left.
But you didn't vote.
And we have it's only one account here.
Well, what would you vote for if you could vote?
Not sure.
It is interesting how race has just consumed our consciousness. Or maybe it's a self-selected group who come. Dom, are you going to vote? You should vote, Dom.
And we see a few people queuing up in the StreamYard. If you could just make sure your video is on and your audio is working, that would be good.
Great. And in case anybody's wondering, I am drinking cold brewed coffee with ice and almond milk. And Reed is drinking the same cold brew coffee with ice and heavy cream, which I would absolutely be doing myself, but I'm trying to lay off dairy. I love heavy cream.
Yeah. I bet that, yeah, I think that crunch was in the mic. So, yeah.
No, can you tell the difference between heavy cream and half and half?
I don't think I've compared it that well.
I bet you if you had it next to each other, you'd like the heavy cream more. That's my prediction.
Oh,
all right. We're getting results.
All right.
Oh my God. I'm amazed that my thing won. Holy shit.
Oh, wow.
My thing actually won. I'm utterly flabbergasted by that. Should we show people how to do a Delphi technique iteration and vote among those three or no? Or just tell them? Okay, I'll just tell you. So one of the things that we went around and when we did in the country, and I published an article on this, when people want to predict the future, one tool that they use is something called the Delphi technique. And they basically ask experts in a field what they think, where they think a certain technology will be, or technology in general, 10 years and 20 years. And they send them a questionnaire, and there's always a blank spot on it. I just can't believe my thing won. I find that to be shocking. So look, the people who either that or they were just being nice to me, they wanted to do my own claim. I don't know. It's possible. But anyway, you vote and then you send it back to the researchers, and then they send it out again. Which camera? Me in this camera?
Either one.
Yeah. Then they send it out again. And then the researchers, you do this for multiple iterations. Each time they just drop the it's like rank voting. They just drop the items that have the fewest votes. But we can do the same thing with the Delphi technique. So when we run around the country and we did this, I took the claims from whoever came. Community members were welcome to write on the board too. And I think we threw a couple of our claims up there just in case nobody had anything to say, which wasn't the case in any of the events. And then we did this multiple iterative voting process, and that's how we got the claim. So we could do that as well, but I'm happy to say people voted on the issue. Okay, so go back to the claim. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to read the claim, and then let's talk about that a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
We might even need to pull up some context for it. Should we revoke the U.S. soldiers' medals of honor from the Battle of Wounded Knee? So at the time, they were given medals of honor, and now I think I read this in Military Times. There's a move to revoke those. Ooh, that's good, Reed. That's good. I like that you did that. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I just find that fascinating, but I'm not going to say anything else about it now because I don't want to prejudice people. But you don't even have to know necessarily, I don't think, about the Battle of Wounded Knee, but just that whole, the sentiment, the concept, the idea is just, to me, it's personally fascinating. All right. So this is the first time we've done this, so bear with us, everybody. Do we want to how do we select people to get them in there?
Yeah, so now we need to bring some people in. We have a few people in the queue. If everyone who wants to play can be on video and show 3 fingers on camera.
Yeah,
Just
that's
to make
good.
sure you're a real person.
Okay, I see
Who else is here?
Eon.
I see a
E-
Robert. Are you there, Robert?
EOIN.
All right. We'll bring on EOIN. We'll see how that works. Hello. Or he's gone.
He's gone.
How about Robert? Hello, Robert.
Hi there.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, guys.
Good. All right, we got
I'm a
one.
huge fan.
Oh, well, cool. Well, let's play this. This is going to be a fun game. All right, and I'm still almost flabbergasted. People voted. People voted for the one thing I liked. Maybe everybody's just being nice to me. I don't know. And now, let's see. What does any who? All right, if you want to play, yeah, the power of suggestion. That's just exactly what I was thinking. I think if I didn't suggest it, nobody would take
let's
it.
try to get a few people in here. There's 155 people watching. So
all right, let's try to get some people in here who want to play the game. It doesn't really work well if there's a. Oh, thank you for organizing the event. Right on. Hey, by the way, if anybody donates, I don't make this money. Reed doesn't make the money. It goes right to the nonprofit, so we can keep doing events and we can keep doing cool stuff. So appreciate that. BR, I don't even know how to say that name. So thanks. All right, so Dom, do you want to jump in if we can't find anybody or no? I think people are shy, Reed.
yeah, I want them on video. So
Yeah, you got to be on video though.
that'd be nice. Got a few people in here, but I want to see you on video.
Have to be on video. Have to put some skin in the game. Oh, thanks. You found our channel and loves the channel. Well, that's good. Well, we love. Hey, there's Nikki. Hi, Nikki. Nikki wants to play.
Hello.
Hi, Nikki. How are you?
Good.
All right, cool. All right, we have 2. We could theoretically do it with 2, but it works much better with 5. A lot of people watching, a lot of shy people as well.
Okay.
I'll join.
Okay, so that's
3.
Don can jump into if needed.
all right. We could do it with 4, I think. We need 2 more people. 2 more people.
Let me start getting people's names on here.
Yeah.
Do you want to be on the line or do you want to just
On the line.
all right.
On the line at first. So everybody's going to start just like when we do this in real life. Oh, I'm going to be in the line too.
Did you want to?
No, unless people want me on the line. I mean, I really don't even know what to think about it. I honestly have no opinion about it.
I think you should just facilitate.
Yeah, let's just
And I'm just
facilitate.
going to be in, doing the tech. So ideally not on the line also.
All right, so we got
Let's EOIN again. Hello. Are you back? Hello.
He's back. We lost you for a bit.
Are you there?
Oh, someone wants to know if we can explain the rules of the game. Yeah, the rules of the game are very simple. They are. I'm trying to think of how it translates into the digital realm. Well, here are the rules in the analog world, in the real world. I read the claim. Oop, the dogs.
Yeah, I'll shut the door in a second.
Yeah. I read the claim, and I give people a time to think about it. Then I'll repeat the claim, and when I'll count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, their names didn't show up there.
Yeah, I'm going to put them on there
Okay.
manually.
And then I count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then people move. Now, can they move themselves?
I'll have to manually move them.
And Reed will manually move them as part of his roles and responsibilities today. Reed, very good job. Extra credit. And then I'll basically, you can move at any time. In fact, you're encouraged to move. What you can't do, and I don't think they can cheat here. They can't cheat by standing. You can't stand in between a line. Like you have to make the commitment to, like if you're on the strongly disagree or slightly disagree, you can't say, well, I'm kind of, no, you have to actually move to the neutral or to the disagree.
Yeah. Let me know if you want to change your position at any time.
Yeah. If you want to change your position, just let Reed know. All right. I think
we have Dale here.
We have Dale. All right. I think I'm trying to think if there are any other rules that translate. that need to be said. It's pretty,
You'll
pretty
explain as we
straightforward.
go.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. All right.
All right, I'm going to switch the Miro board to just view for now. We'll go back to editing.
All right. And let's
Later.
go to let's see some of the comments so I can try to answer those.
Yeah, comments. Anybody else want to come on? Feel
yeah,
free.
extra credit. Anytime anybody ever said anything in class, I just told them extra credit. Although there is no credit, just like this, it's just extra credit. Yeah. Okay. Some people talked about what the Battle of the Wounded Knee is. 1890. They put in dates. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, that's cool. You can star those. You're starring those. Are you starring those?
I think Dom is.
Oh, okay. Good job, Dom. Extra credit for you too, Dom. Good work. Extra credit. So you haven't figured it out again. Extra credit is completely meaningless. All right.
Just do it with 3.
Yeah, let's do it with 3. Okay, this is I'm going to count down from 5. This is your last chance to join if you want to join.
Oh, someone else came on.
You want to join? Who wants to join? Is Steve, you're joining?
I'm going to count down from 5. This is your last chance.
Yeah, just mute the tab there, Steve. We'll add him if he comes back.
All right. I think Steve.
So this time, just ask Robert, Nikki, and Dale.
All right, we got 3 people. That's good.
Steve might be back.
Unless Steve wants to come. Okay, Steve, the entire planet is waiting for you. No stress. No stress, Steve. No stress. You've got this.
He was on video a second ago.
All right.
He wasn't ready for this.
Oh, okay. All right, no worries. Okay.
Next one.
So again, the rules of the game, pretty straightforward. I'm going to read the claim, and then you tell Reed where you want to go, and Reed will move you. You can move at any time, but you can't move in between a line. You have to be squarely on a line. And then I just asked you targeted questions. Okay. Claim. We should revoke. I'm just so happy we're doing this one. We should revoke the U.S. soldiers' medals of honor from the Battle of Wounded Knee. All right, now I'm going to read it again. And at the end of the time, I want you to tell Reed where you want to go. We should revoke the U.S. soldiers' medals of honor from the Battle of Wounded Knee. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Tell Reed where you want to go.
Disagree. I like it.
Robert, how about you? Where are you going?
Strongly disagree.
Okay.
All right. Nikki, where do you want to go? If you could, you're on mute, Nikki.
Oh, and you can stay on the neutral.
Yeah.
No, disagree.
Okay.
Disagree.
Okay.
Where you want to go, Dale?
Disagree.
All right.
Be good if we had someone who agreed, but that's okay.
If someone wants to come on and is on the agree side.
Yeah, if you agree with this, and you want to come on, we would love to. These games work best when we have another person. Yeah. But don't just do it for devil's advocate too, because you actually believe it.
If people could come on and put your position on like a Post-it note and show it to the camera so I can see what your position.
Oh, that's a good one.
And that would be
that's good.
I can add people if we need more ideological diversity.
Yeah.
So Sam, write down what position you are, and we may add you to the game this time. We'll see. All right. Well, go ahead.
Okay. All right. We're going to start at the strongly disagree. So, Robert, why do you strongly disagree that we should revoke the U.S. soldiers' Medal of Honor from the Battle of Wounded Knee? Oh, I can actually write down my notes.
I think an action like that is ultimately paramount to trying to rewrite history. I mean, obviously, we can't change the past, but and I certainly don't feel any sense of pride about that particular battle. That was pretty horrific from what I've read about it. But I don't think we should change what happened. That changes everything that people from now on into the future will think and know and learn about it. And I think it's important for us to keep things as it was at the time, whether we like it or not. That's
okay. And it's important. Why is it bad to rewrite history?
Well, for me, I think it's bad because it's almost like instilling a sense of false reality. 1984,
All right. Okay. Got it. All right. We're going to you, Nikki. Why do you think why do you disagree with that claim?
The reason I'm not strongly disagree, because I do think that, our morals in society do change. I mean, like, we once thought slavery, we once approved it. And so anything that was given in honor during that time, maybe we need to rethink that. So that's why I'm not on strongly disagree, but I do disagree. I do agree with what he said, is that no, we shouldn't revise history. It needs to stand. And so there were enough people at that time giving honor to these soldiers, whether it was, morally absolutely right or wrong. It was what it was. And so I'm going to trust the judgment then.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
told us why you're not on strongly disagree, but you didn't tell us why you're not on slightly disagree.
I'm not on slightly disagree because I have a problem with revisionist history. Just like the previous speaker, I do have a problem with that. And I think that things need to stand. I mean, whether they were right or wrong, they need to stand. We can't just go ahead and take things away because we may disagree with them later. It's like pulling down statues. I live in Portland and I've seen what happens here.
Yeah.
And so that has really, really, I mean, I already felt this way, but it's made me even more stronger in my faith on my position.
Okay. So I'm going to get to that idea of we shouldn't revise history in a second, but I want to go to Dale first. All right, Dale, what are you thinking?
Well, probably pretty much the same thing the other two have been saying. The issue I have with that whole Wounded Knee thing is, I mean, I'm from Minneapolis, so I knew some people who were connected to that whole thing. And, it was pretty horrific. But this is history. And so if there's something factually wrong historically, I'd be all for correcting the record, because I'm all about falsification. I've given up on truth.
Well, that's rather depressing. Sorry to hear about that.
But
Wow.
If anything, I'd say issue an apology.
Okay, so let me
family.
ask you a question. I guess this is to everyone, but I'll go to Robert with this question. So this idea of not rewriting history, not revising history, this has come up from all three people. I guess what I'm not clear about is, why would this be history revisionism? Why wouldn't this be an example of a value that we have now in our history? And this would be taught in history books as we remove their medals posthumously. Why is that? I don't understand why that's revising history.
Well, because let's suppose, as a simple example, Soldier A received the Medal of Honor for actions A, B, and C.
Okay.
And if we think through what our reason for history is, and what our reason for awarding those that medal was, why would we want to say, no, that was a bad call? I mean, it may have been a bad call, but why would we? The only reason to change
that I
is
understand.
to cover it up.
Okay, that I understand.
Mhm.
What I don't understand is, how is that considered rewriting history? Because
I think, I get you. I think I understand what you're asking. I guess maybe it isn't specifically rewriting history. I think maybe it is more of a statement of saying, we've learned better now, and we're going to try to change the perception of what was right and wrong back then. So maybe it's not rewriting history, but I guess maybe it's more like trying to rewrite values. And for me, the historical value of those medals of honor, that was our value at that time. Doesn't mean it was right.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna get back to that because I think there's something profound there. But we now have someone. Yeah, we now have somebody. Warren is his name, who is on the strongly agree line, and this is good. By the way, on the comments, I'm looking at the YouTube comments as well. If people have questions they'd like me to ask, just post them in the comments. And so, as a general rule, you want to post more comments to you just need to look at the board. All right, Warren, why do you think that we should revoke the U.S. Soldiers Medals of Honor from the Battle of Wounded Knee?
I think this is a similar situation to the whole notion of the Confederacy and Confederate symbols. I think it comes down to the question, how do you celebrate noble sacrifice for a vile cause? I think in the past, we did not consider it a vile cause. I think now with this incident, we do. So I think it really needs to be recontextualized, whether the medals are taken from the soldiers who are simply following orders, or we recontextualize the event. So the event is called out as being vile. But I think the status quo is not acceptable to me.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So are you saying it's a good thing that they followed orders? Sorry.
No, but I want to give them some grace as well, because if I had been in their shoes with their moral context at that time, I probably would have. But I think we have a more mature view of it now.
So one shouldn't receive medals just for following orders. The whole idea is it's kind of above and beyond.
Well, they may have gone above and beyond, but it was in a vile moral context. So it's kind of a matter of grain. If you, let's say we were German and our grandfather jumped on a grenade to save his Nazi band of brothers, he was simply fighting for the fatherland. He was a hero, and they have a letter from Hitler honoring that. But the cause itself was vile. So I'm sorry, we don't get to put a statue of Grandpa in town square. The vileness of the cause kind of ruined it. So it's
okay.
kind of.
Do the medals represent performance or endorsements of the event?
I think they could be looked at both ways. I think that's probably the problem, or the tension, if you will, because I think you could make a case for both.
Okay. All right. Is there anything? Oh, and one more thing before I ask that. What do you think about this notion that all three people, in some sense, discussed? It's a kind of rewriting history. What do you think about that?
I think history originally, a lot of times, is not written properly. In other words, the Confederacy, in my view, was a vile Nazi-esque cause. If you look at the secession documents, particularly, I live in Texas, the 1861 secession document, in their own words, basically says, black lives here are for white pleasure and profit, and this is cool in the name of God and the Bible. But
right.
that document's not taught in our schools. Instead, we have statues of the Confederacy honored in town squares in Texas. So I think there's a lost cause mythology, whitewashing history, as opposed to changing it.
Got it. Okay, so Robert, Nikki, or Dale, is there anything Warren said that would persuade you to move one single line? I was going to say to the left. Is it to the left? Yeah, I guess if you were standing looking at me, to the left. What would anything that he said persuade you to move?
Yeah, I think it's a good argument. As far as his reasoning, I can't find any fault with that. I'm certainly not a historian. I can say definitively that for me, I'm a very long-time veteran, and I know from specific experience that the awarding of medals and any type of military honor is always based on, your performance and what you are doing in support of your command, not necessarily in support of the cause. You don't get a Medal of Honor for waving the flag. You get a Medal of Honor for bravery that is exceptionally far above and beyond what a normal person would would show. So
Okay. So let me ask you this. A few people have said this in the chat, and I think this is excellent. If they said, well, so Warren, my question is to you. So what if they got a Medal of Bravery from the Battle of Wounded Knee? Do you think, and I know this isn't the question, but I'm trying to tease something out here. Would you still be on the strongly agree line if it were not honor, but bravery?
I think that I could hold that intention. I think we could honor the soldiers, but also call out the vileness of the cause. It wouldn't be unlike the NAACP wants to sandblast the carving on Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Right.
I have connection to that mountain. I have family in Georgia and experiences on that mountain that have nothing to do with racism. But if I was Black, I understand why they want to do it. Instead of destroying that carving, I'd rather put a 300-foot statue of Martin Luther King where the version 2 KKK kickoff was in 1915. So I'd rather add some metadata that gives contrast instead of destroying the history. So I think I would feel better about that, honoring the sacrifices of the soldiers who were perhaps, acting in good faith and values of the time. But in retrospect, that was really a vile cause, what happened at Wounded Knee.
Yeah. So is some of the dispute here the fact that it says honor instead of another word like bravery or heroism or courage? Or am I just reading too much into what people are reading in the chat?
I think there's some polysemy disambiguation that needs to happen. Polysemy says like a word like feminism has a spectrum of meanings from, say, useful to toxic. So I think honor in this context, are you talking about honoring the cause or honoring the bravery of the soldiers? And I think those two are kind of tightly coupled. If we can separate that, I think it would add clarity.
My understanding of Medal of Honor is the latter description that you gave is, bravery of the individual combatants, not necessarily honoring the cause. That's just my opinion.
All right, so let me ask Dale a question. A couple of things. Is revoking the medals the appropriate way to recontextualize / condemn the cause? And right below that, there's a really good one. By this logic, would it not mean that all medals given to soldiers in the Second Iraq War started over weapons of mass destruction lives be stripped? Those are two, I think, salient questions. Is revoking the medals the appropriate way to recontextualize, condemn the cause? Nikki, what do you think? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. I think there are a bunch of, like I say, 3 or 4 different issues going on here. The revisionist history issue, the debate over whether it's honor or bravery, and then the basis for truth. I'm sorry, some of you have rejected truth, but there is truth. If we didn't have it, we wouldn't know any of it. So we do have truth, and there is absolute morality. So we can't, so history exists, whether we want it to or not, based on the values that happened then. Okay? If we remove that, and this may be tangential to your question, sorry, Peter, but if we remove what happened in the past based on our morals now, that kind of erases what actually happened. We don't want to, we want to say, okay, this happened. Maybe it was right, maybe it was wrong, but it did happen.
Okay.
So that's where I'm coming from. Not that we condone it now, but I don't think that we have the right to take it away. Maybe we don't have to honor it now. We can talk about it, but we don't have to take it away. We can say, yeah, this was given. This is what they thought at the time. Why should we change that? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So now I have a question for. Go ahead, Reed.
You're good. You're just speaking.
Oh yeah, sorry. So I'm gonna move this over so I keep forgetting to speak into the mic. It's easier when it's handheld because it's right there live. Okay, so now I have the linchpin question that I ask in every single one of these is what would it take you to move? And I love the fact that the questions are here. Makes it much easier because usually when I'm doing this, I have to think of all this stuff myself. Okay, so now the linchpin question to the whole game. What would it take you, Robert, for example, to move to disagree? Nikki and Dale to move to the slightly disagree and Warren to move to the agree. Why don't we start with Warren first? What would it take you to move one line to the agree?
I think it would take a reframing of the question to build on what Nikki was saying, to put it into a Confederate analog. I don't want to destroy Confederate statues. I want to move them out of town square and places of honor to museums and add metadata to them. So I'm fine if we could restate this question. How can we, honor the noble sacrifice without celebrating the vile cause? So I think
what would that look like? Hold on. What would that look like instead of revoke? We like move them to a museum? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm trying to think how in this case it's not a statue, but it is. If we could reframe, recontextualize the battle or massacre of Wounded Knee to explain the vileness of it, but at the same time intention honor the soldiers who fought valiantly for our country, I can hold those in tension.
Okay, all right. Dale, do you consider that reasonable? Oh, you're muted, Dale.
What would cause Warren to move or cause me to move?
Okay, I guess let's go to you first. What would cause you to move one line to the slightly disagree?
Well, the biggest problem I see has to do with the whole concept of reparations. So I think we talked about, revisionist history, that being part of it. But it's this whole idea that we need to somehow reconcile the past to the present. It was a different era. So if I could be assured that there wouldn't be any ramifications to other issues like reparations, for example, but I see this as kind of just opening the door, and we're punishing the wrong people, by the way. You don't punish the soldiers. I was in the army.
Okay, let's go on that for a second. So is part of the reason that you're on the disagree rather than slightly disagree is that you think if we do this, it's going to open the floodgates, or it's a slippery slope to the next thing,
It's going to be a lot easier to make.
So would you, and I know this is a radical hypothetical, I just want you to know I'm completely aware of what I'm about to say is impossible, but if somehow magically you could be assured or guaranteed that would not happen, would you be willing to move to the slightly disagree?
No, if you restated it to be a formal public apology, acknowledging that this was wrong. We wronged these people, we being this country, and that we are deeply sorry for what we're doing, and we're not going to let this happen again, given what we know now. I mean, that's all you can do. You can learn from the past and move on, or you can let it fester. And karma's a bitch.
Even if we, but even if we made that acknowledgement, Biden, whoever made that acknowledgement, even if we did that, you would still not move to the slightly disagree.
No, you don't take away a medal once you give it. I mean, it's like it's in the heat of the moment. It might have been completely wrong for every wrong reason you can think of, but soldiers just carry out instructions. That's what they're there for. If they don't, everybody's seen A Few Good Men. If I don't do this thing, people will die, right?
Okay, then how come you're not on the strongly disagree line?
I'm probably not too far from going there.
Do you want to move?
Again, it goes back to my main concern, Peter.
Would you like to move?
Sure.
Okay, Reed, let's move them over there. All right, Robert. It's no, yeah. All right, Robert, what would it take you to move to the disagree?
I would. So again, my understanding of the Medal of Honor is very specific. I don't have I don't have any knowledge of what those soldiers' actions were that got them that medal awarded. So for me to move, what I would want to see is specific reasoning that says, hey, this soldier didn't actually act with heroism and valor and bravery. Instead, he ran away from the enemy. He did something that is cowardly. Medal of Honors are not, symbolic of our entire country. These are personal awards. They're given to individuals, never to a battalion or a company or a force. So,
Okay. The
for me to
question
change
though
my
is,
opinion,
but the question is not should we revoke an individual's medals? Should we revoke the U.S. So like all of them?
right, right. So what I'm saying is, if I were to be presented with evidence that individually or collectively they didn't deserve those medals, the more cowardly they act, the more I would be moving to the agree side. I
Okay.
guess is the easiest way I could explain it. It's
Yeah,
a very
someone said
difficult question.
it's a very
it's a great
difficult
question.
question. It's the linchpin of all these SE type. I call it
Yeah.
a cousin of SE, if you will. So people said it's an individual award, yeah, and it's still we're contextualizing in this in the context of the question.
20 individual awards.
Yeah, Nikki, do you have anything to add? And then I'm going to go back to Warren.
Okay, I always hate this question. I got to tell you, every time you ask that, I just want to punch you. But that's just me because I'm not.
Good thing we're
like,
doing this virtually.
Yeah, seriously. I always leave room to change my mind, and so that's why I never, unless it's just like so clear to me. In this case, I think there's some knowledge that I just don't have. Like I didn't live during that time, so I want to make room for me to change my mind. But at this point,
Yeah,
I'm going to stick on the disagree. I'm not going to be a super extremist. I'm just not. And that's temperamentally.
okay, but one can be on a strongly disagree line and not be an extremist. Like, if it was, I think we should throw small children into gas chambers or something, you could strongly disagree with that. No one would call you an
True. I mean,
extremist.
there are, so in that case, that's an absolute morality. Like we know that's true. In this case, there's history involved and facts that I just don't know that happened. So until I am fully vetted in that knowledge, I would say I'm not gonna move either to. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
I hear you. All right, Warren. So, do you feel that you not agree, but do you feel that you understand Robert, Nikki, and Dale's arguments?
Yes, I found this helpful. I think looking at it through the lens of the soldier who's making sacrifice and is a very important stakeholder perspective. But also, I think we need to keep that intention with the higher grain of the cause. So I think it goes back to the question: how do we celebrate noble sacrifice for a vile cause? That's a difficult problem.
Yeah, right. Is there any argument or a piece of evidence that you could give someone wants a new claim? Soon we're just wrapping it up. Is there any argument or any evidence that anybody could give to, like, the best argument they could give to persuade somebody? Anybody want to throw it out?
For or against?
Sure. No, I would
Either
say
way.
that there is absolute truth, absolute morality. So if that, I mean, and in light of history, I think we need to take those two things into consideration. We can't change history based on what we feel now. Like history happened, and so whether they knew the truth at the time or not, they got the Medal of Honor. They did.
Okay. All right,
So,
I'll give you the last word there. A couple comments. I like the Mars's comments about Rommel and World War II. He's always fascinated me. And then again, a theme that ran through this is: should we judge the past by today's standards? So a lot of really good questions. I'm actually loving the questions and the comments to the side. All right. Well, thanks everybody for playing the game. We appreciate it. We hope it helped you recalibrate some of the stuff you think about. Thanks for choosing my question too. No, I didn't think anybody wanted to talk about that. I just think it's so interesting because it's really is one of the most conspicuous examples of imposing our morality, or at least looking at actions of the past through a current moral lens. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Let's do a new claim.
All right. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was fun. It's cool. Should we do another iterative voting process, or what should we do for the second claim?
Yeah. Let's decide on what. Want to just bring on some people and see what they want to do in the queue?
Yeah, we could do that. Well, what are the claims? What are the claims?
Let me go back.
All right. So we got a whole bunch of claims here. If I'm a vegan, owning a pet is wrong. Huh, that's an odd claim. I'd really have to think about some of these. An action can be both racist and ethical. I like that. That's a really interesting claim. A statement can be both racist and true. Rachel Dolezal is a black woman. Lose funding. Wow, no human being is an illegal alien. The best arguments will always win in a good faith debate. That's a good one too. But we live in a simulation. Boredom is a form of purpose. Oh, I'd have to really think about that one. Boredom is a form. It seems exactly the opposite to me. But let's see. Well, yeah. Let's see what people want to do.
Okay. Eowen.
So we're gonna bring some people on, and they should mute their mic for now, right?
Yeah, Eowen, your mic has too much background noise. So, but we have Sam. Hello, Sam.
Hey, Sam.
What do you want to do, Sam?
Hey, good to be here. I can't see the questions too well.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a product of.
Yeah, there's a Miro link in the description where you can see, and you can also make suggestions for claims. I'll turn that back on for people to make more suggestions. Want to do this one?
A statement can be both
or that one?
Racist and true, or an action can be both racist and ethical. A statement can be both racist and true. We can do that, or an action can be both racist and ethical.
Pick your poison, right?
Spicy for sure.
Yeah, spicy. This is the kind of thing you have a conversation about when someone clips it out.
Yeah.
Take it completely out of context.
Looks like we have a bunch of other people here on video. Feel free to turn your video on.
Yeah, you got to play the game. You got to have your video on.
Hello, Elijah.
I had a good friend named Elijah.
Hello.
Sam, where are you from?
If you hadn't worked it out, I'm from the UK, so I'm from
ahoy,
England.
ahoy. I have been to your island. I know some of your people on the island. Many of your people. Actually.
It's a pleasure to be able to interact with you, honestly. It's
it's a
kind of surreal.
To speak to someone from your island.
We're in the middle of a heat wave here, so we're not going to get much sleep anyway.
I was just talking to Helen Pluckrose when I was on the island. I visited her hut. It was nice.
It's not so small that we all know Helen, unfortunately.
All right, good. So we now have what is that? Johan, is that how you say that?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Are you from the island too? Where are you from?
No, I'm from Denmark.
You're from Denmark. That is definitely not an island.
It is not. Can I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
The YouTube description says that this is for subscribers, but I just found the link in the YouTube comments. Am I allowed to be here if I'm not a subscriber?
Yeah, we gave them a heads up,
a
head start, but
we gave them a head start
in the queue. So now we're just letting anybody come on.
Yes,
okay.
All the riffraff come in.
Okay, thank you for allowing the riffraff.
All right, cool, and we have Kate joining us. My goodness, we have a wide range of people from islands and non-islands here. No one can accuse us of anything exclusory. Okay, so I think we should do one of those racial claims.
All right, okay, let's do this one.
Whoa, let's not make any racial claims before.
Okay, we picked.
No, I'm
two.
joking.
No, I know you are. We picked one of two. And while Reed sets that up, I'm just going to go over the rules of the game. The rules of the game are pretty straightforward. I will read the claim, and then which is a statement can be both racist and true. I see people are thinking about that, so I'll repeat it again. A statement can be both racist and true. And I'll count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you tell Reed where you want to move, and he'll move you there. And just exactly as we did in the other game, I'll ask you why you're there, and we'll just go through a series of questions. The other rule is you have to be on a line, so you can't say, well, I kind of think this. Can I go in the middle? The answer to that is no. Excuse me. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the game before we start? All right. So I'm going to read the claim, and then you tell me what you think. A statement can be both racist and true. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, I would say move, but tell Reed where you want to go.
Sam,
where do you want to go?
I will go disagree.
Disagree. Okay. Elijah.
Also say disagree.
Okay.
I think I heard also disagree.
That's what I think I heard.
Okay.
Johan.
Slightly disagree.
Slightly disagree. Okay. Kate.
I'm going to go to slightly disagree.
Huh. Interesting.
Okay. All right.
Interesting. Okay. So a statement can be both racist and true. I have to process this myself for a second. Okay. So Sam, why do you agree with that? Oh, and by the way, just for everybody who just joined in, why do you disagree? For everybody who just joined in, Reed and I didn't make these claims. People generated these claims. Sam, why do you disagree?
It took me a minute as well. I think the like racism is a moral interpretation of facts versus facts are just facts, right? So like there can be racist reasons for facts. There can be racially sensitive reasons why things play out in certain ways. And racism is true, but truth isn't racist. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. Nietzsche says something like that. He said there's no moral facts, only moral interpretation of facts. All right. Elijah, why are you on the disagree?
Can you hear me? Well?
Yep. It was very clear.
So this is definitely an interesting like claim. But I guess what I was thinking is like we're evaluating it on the fact that it's racist, and so that's like the port of the statements that we're evaluating. Which I guess if you're not reading this claim like that, I might shift my position. But like I think the tenet of racism is like wrong. It is something that I disagree with. Like I think it's objectively incorrect. And so I think that the racism of a statement would be false. Now, if you make a statement that has a true fact in it, but also is being is racist for terminology used or like the way you're using that statement to be framed, then I might move to the agree category if you want to separate those two things. But right now, like I guess it depends on the statement, I suppose. But I think for the tenet of it being racist and evaluating it based on that, then I would say no.
Okay, so I just want to pause here. It would seem to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Reed, you keep me honest. If somebody were on the agree or strongly agree, the only thing you'd need to ask them is give me an example.
Yeah.
Or am I missing something?
That's what people are saying. Yeah.
Oh, there. Okay, Johan, why are you on the slightly disagree?
My apologies if this is a really strange argument, but I'm not entirely convinced that we have a society-wide consensus as to what racism exactly means.
Yeah.
But I do think that no one would like to define it in such a way that they can turn on the news tomorrow and hear, "Dear viewer, today's study shows that turns out racism is true and you should have been a racist all along." So my disagreement comes more as a sort of a definitional problem.
Okay, so let's talk. Okay, so let's talk about how do you want to define? And I'm hesitant to even throw this out because I feel that I don't want this to we fall down a rabbit hole and not answer the question. But you do have to define the question or define the term. How do you define racist?
I'm not sure I have a very good definition at hand, but I suppose we would have to make sure that I think it would be something that is proven about race, if my argument holds up at least.
Something
So
that is disproven about race.
Yes, so
even if it's positive, like I don't know, Samoans score better on spatial geography or something.
So let's say some presupposition about racial difference. I suppose that's still a bit vague, but I think that's the best I can come up with that I noted.
But wouldn't that have to be negative to be racist, or no?
Yes. Didn't I include that? A presupposition
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
About the negative.
Sure.
Okay. All right, let's go to Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hi,
do you want to offer a definition of racism or no?
No. Well, you know what? My answer to your original question might slightly figure into this, because I sort of hesitated as to which line to stand on, and as I was listening to people, I almost wanted to go on to the strongly disagree at one point, and I think it sort of depends on where I stand. Sort of depends on why the person is saying the statement. So if they're saying the statement merely because it is truth,
yeah,
I don't think truth can be racist, because truth is just truth and it is inherently just there because it's true. It's not, racism in itself would assume a particular bias or stereotype or some sort of judgment of, I guess I am going to define racism, inferiority or superiority, that somebody's judging somebody else or a group of people based on characteristics.
Right. The classical, right. The classical definition, which is before everyone started including power into it. Yeah.
Right. Superior, inferior based on some characteristics. And is making assumptions. So if somebody is making a statement and they're doing that because of these judgments, that's, because they have these biases, then their statement can be racist. But if they are making these statements because it's simply a fact, or that statement because it's a fact, then it is not racist.
Okay. So here's my question then to Sam and Elijah, and I got you, Kate. So if you disagree with the claim a statement can be both racist and true, that must mean you can't think of a single example of a statement that is both racist and true. So in order for you to move to change to the neutral, even going over the slightly disagree, all you would have to hear is one statement. Is that correct? That's your defeasibility, or that's your disconfirmation. I mean, it must be, or am I missing something?
Yeah, I suppose it's the way we've taken the question, right? So if we were to hear, I suppose we could hear a true statement that was racist. But it's also, is it at a deeper level true still, like just because it's as Kate was saying, in a racial context, because the racism is applied by certain people. Like you could give a classically racist fact about any certain group of people representing criminology at a higher rate, right? Or like, right, being arrested or jailed, but
so as long as you can think of something, anything, you don't have to articulate that.
Yeah.
At the very least, it would be cause to move to the slightly disagree and probably the slightly agree, but we'll bracket that for now. So all either one of you need to do is just think of a single example I'm not going to provide one, but if you read some of the comments people are putting in the comments about I don't know, putting in some comments, but some definitely jump out to mind to me that are factual statements. You know, someone's putting Kenyan runners or genetics in alcoholism, etc. So I'm gonna ask both Sam and Elijah. And again, you don't need to articulate this. We might be booted off of YouTube, but is that heuristic, or is that way to think about it enough to bump you down to the neutral?
You want to go, or yeah, okay. Yeah. I think it's a lot of how, like, evaluating the question. Because, like, for example, so that's the example I thought in my head is, like, say someone said, like, I personally hate all people of color, right? That would be like a true statement for that person, right? And also racist, right? So, like, technically, yes, it would be both, but I think it's more about, like, how I'm, evaluating the question, right? Because what I'm looking at is, like, the way I'm reading the claim is that the claim is asking, like, can that racism be true? Which is maybe not a correct way to view this claim. But I think it's kind of implying that, like, can both of these things be true at the same time and not, like, kind of separately true, if that makes sense, in the same statement. And so I think in that case, right, like, I think, like, if, you know, given that example, then, like, I think that belief is then wrong, but it is true that it is their belief. Which, I mean, that's also, yeah, that's another issue of, like, subjectivity. But I mean, like it is true that it is what they believe.
Yeah, I don't think that's the intent of the person who wrote that statement. So that's, like, a little in the semantic weeds there. But I don't think this is the intent. But would you be willing to move to the neutral or slightly disagree?
Sorry, I just thought of something that is kind of reinforcing me.
Okay.
Which is if it's, as you said before, it depends on our definition of racism, and if we define racism as something undeserved, then it can never be true. So if you're discriminating unjustly against someone purely because of their race, not anything to do with them as a person, then that is you are not being honest and faithful with them. You are acting in a dishonest fashion. So therefore, you can't act in a true fashion.
Okay, and is that sufficient to move you to another line?
Would probably put me in strongly disagree, to be honest.
Well, then would you like us to? Well,
please.
Would you like? All right. So Sam is moving to the strongly disagree, and I should have asked Elijah. Is there anything? Do you want to move? Are you happy with where you are, or would you like to also move to the strongly disagree or the slightly disagree?
I think actually probably put me in neutral for right now. Okay. I didn't realize. I think, yeah, I think neutral.
All right. So that leaves Johan and Kate. Johan, what do you think?
First of all, just for the point about definition, I was thinking, why do we say a negative presupposition? Because if you make any assumption between two groups of people, it's going to be negative for one and positive for the other.
Not necessarily, right? I mean, you could have a food preference. Somebody like the Brazilians like their avocados with, sugar, and we like us on the continent over here. Not, I don't know about what Sam does in his little island, but we like avocados with spicy stuff. Well, so that's not a negative judgment there.
Oh, okay. Well, at any rate, I'm not entirely sure that's a reasonable definition then, but I think I might actually be so radical as to, I kind of want to move over to the agree category if we're going with this sort of definition.
Okay. So I want to ask you this. Can anybody give me, and then Kate, I'm coming to you. Can anybody give me an example of a false and racist statement?
A false and racist?
Yeah.
Well, okay. All people from China are 10 feet tall and have an IQ of 10.
And could it possibly be true?
I've never been to China, but I'd say no.
Oh, okay. All right. So here's my question then, Kate. What would it take you to move to disagree or neutral?
Not much. I'm sort of all over the place right now, to be honest.
And what makes you lean? What would make you lean to the disagree, and what would make you lean to the agree?
I guess to the disagree, it would be, again, I think it comes from intentions. So whether intention plays a role in this. So to me, it's like a statement. If a statement is made without a racist intention, then to me it's not racist.
What if you just saw it on a piece of paper, ripped out of a book?
And then I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
It would be neutral. I would have no way of being able to assess either way. I would just have no way of knowing.
So what's making you lean to the agree? So is it all about intent to you?
Agree. Sorry, say it again.
Is it all about intent to you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
So what about the statement, Asians are less likely to be incarcerated for murder?
Mm-hmm.
I assume
Well, is
that's
it coming
true.
from an assumption versus like, I guess I would look at it like, is that statement coming out of somebody's educated gathering of statistics, and therefore they're making sort of an educated assumption about this, or are they making assumptions based on just biases?
They're making the assumption based upon where I got the assumption from. Was I looked at the charts.
Right.
I remember reading the data for my dissertation a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I would not consider that racist. Like I've been in situations where people have said certain things, let's say about my own background, where I've had certain people make the same comment where I would have felt that there was were racist undertones, and other times where they would have said the same thing and I did not do the same thing.
Okay, so are you comfortable where you are?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I might reflect on this and go to strongly agree or strongly disagree the next day. Like I'm not that secure in my position.
Okay, so I was just going to ask, your degree of confidence on a scale from 1 to 10 would be what?
A 5. A 5.
Okay, so if you're 5, then why isn't that a reason to be on the neutral?
Neutral. Yeah, maybe I should be on neutral with Elijah. I'll join it the Elijah way.
All right, cool. All right, well, we're going to go to another claim first, but does anybody have any other finishing comments or any comments on this?
I just want to echo what Kate said. I think 5 seconds later, I could easily be talked into neutral or strongly agree. It's a tricky water on the definition side.
Yeah, it is. It is tricky, and I was reading my friend Matt Thornton's manuscript, The Gift of Violence, and I don't know if it's going to be in the final version or not, but man, he gives some statistics that are pretty crazy about, and Greg Ellis has talked about this, and the respondent, other people have talked about this. I've read very little of the original source material, so I'm getting this from secondary and tertiary sources, but if there's not an adult male in the home, then it's a criminogenic factor, or it's a predictor for violence among particularly young men. And when you break down the data further, you see many African Americans, the variable that many people would like to assume is race is really lack of an adult male in the home. Now, notice I didn't say married. Notice I didn't say can't be gay. Adult male in the home. And it's just interesting to me when that's presented. I'm thinking now specifically in terms of Kate's claim, how people can look at that as racist on either side of the equation, even though it's true, right? They can look at that as racist and judgmental. And that's why I think this claim is a good one and an important one, because we have to retain the ability to say things that are true. Because if we lose the ability to say things that are true, then we can't solve any of our problems.
Well, can I just add something? I
Yeah.
think, if that's okay. I mean, I think the complexity of it is that we don't often understand where somebody's coming from, and so we often ascribe motives to somebody and to their beliefs that may or may not be true. So
Right.
when somebody says something that is true, you know, we might, because it might sound offensive, we may suspect that, well, that person is racist. And when we don't hear, well, where did that belief come from, you know, then we are led sort of on the wrong path. So I think often when we have conversations with people and we're like, okay, so why do you believe what you believe? Why is this the truth? Why do you think that's the truth? And we actually hear the background story, why they sort of justify that claim. That allows us to sort of go, okay, that actually makes sense.
Right.
And that's
Right.
not a racist claim.
No,
And
that's right. And you no matter what you say, if especially in these times, it could be not about race at all, but people are going to interpret it racially. They're going to interpret it in through some whatever lens they want to interpret it through. Oh, that's ableist. That's heteronormative. That's okay. Well, you know, it makes it very difficult to say anything if we're held hostage to the ideological lenses of others, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Go ahead, Elijah. I'll give you last word.
I was going to say, just kind of on that, I was thinking about the book example. You said that when you like found a statement lift out of a book or something. And I think that kind of actually, I think, I mean, maybe I disagree with what you just said almost. I think like exactly it, like it depends a lot on like whether or not that statement can be read as racist or even true. Depends a lot on who's saying it and what context it's in. And I think, I mean, personally, I'm okay with that. I don't think that that's like a big, like losing a way to solve problems. I think it just means you have to read the context as well that it's being said in. Because, for example, a lot of statistics, like in certain contexts, can be used as a way of like kind of pushing like a certain narrative about like people. Versus sometimes it can be said like, hey, this is like for example, with like violent, the kids growing up without fathers and like becoming more violent. I think it's what you mentioned before. That can be like pointed like as a direction, being like, hey, like this is what this says about like black people or something like that. Versus like this can be like, look, this is just like a genuine problem that is happening. The statistics follow it, and like how do we address that? It could be like really different. So I think it's really just up in the air, and it depends on the context and how the people that are perceiving that context view it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Wow, this is a great question. All right, well, thanks everybody.
I strongly disagree as my final act of.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
obedience.
well, that's good.
Kate,
yeah, it was Kate. Strongly disagree. Okay, cool. That's a double move. That's our first double move.
Wow, yeah.
All right, thanks everybody. We're gonna do a new claim, but someone asked a question. If military widows had children without particularly bad life outcomes, would you lower your confidence in the belief of the importance of fathers? Boy, I'd really have to see the data. And I'd also have to really drill down, get more granular on what it means to be in the home. But probably yes. The answer would be yes, probably. Yeah. I just find that it's something that we don't talk about, fatherless homes. I think we should talk about. And every time I've mentioned it, or virtually every time I've mentioned it, someone has called me a conservative, as opposed to a person who just reads the data, trusts that the researchers are not ideologically motivated, and takes a dispassionate look at the data for how to improve the lives of young people and keep them out of prison. So I don't know. Does that make me a conservative? I don't think so. It makes me a person who's concerned with data. But if it does make you a conservative, then that's not a liberal mantle that I want to hold. That's something I want to run far away from as possible, that we shouldn't look at data. and evidence. All right. Thanks, everybody. Let's do another claim, Reed. All right.
All right.
I appreciate everybody joining us.
We will refresh some people here. Thank you, everyone.
By the way, we're in the home studio. I'm going to need another cup of coffee soon.
Yeah.
We're in the home studio. That's my dog, Teddy, in back of us. There's a Christopher Hitchens picture. Oh, there's Teddy. There's a Christopher Hitchens picture in back of Reed there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And this is where we're filming All Things Reconsidered from the home studio.
Coming soon on this channel.
Coming soon on this channel. All right. So we have more claims we can do.
This was the next one in the voting that people voted
The best arguments will always win in a good faith debate. Wow, that's a good question. I like that.
We
Let's
could do that.
one. Let's do that one.
All
Yeah,
right.
let's do that one.
1 second.
By the way, we shouldn't even have to be doing this. Like, this should be in every classroom. This should be in every K through 12. Like, we shouldn't have to go to YouTube to leave the academy to have these kind of questions. I did this, by the way, at the University of Austin in the Forbidden Classes program this summer, and that was a fascinating experience to do it with just really smart people. And one of the things that was fun about it is I asked if I could keep some of the kids on the line at the end.
Oh, wow.
Well, one kid, I grilled the shit out of this kid, but I don't think I would have done that. I would certainly not have done that at my former university, but he was into it. Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Talbot. We appreciate that. All right, cool. So let's do another one. If you want to play, let Reed know.
Yeah, the link is at the top of the chat and YouTube. And yeah, feel free to join. Ideally, we want people on video.
Do I have time to get a cup of coffee?
Another cup of coffee? No, you don't have time.
Oh my goodness, this is like a form of Reed's like my slave driver.
We have John. Hello, John.
Hello, John. How are you?
Hello.
How are you doing today, John?
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, Peter. I love you. I'm a very big fan. I see you with Destiny. I see you talk on streets. I love you very much.
Well, thank you. I love you too in a non-romantic way. So I appreciate your support.
Why not romantic?
Okay, well, that's maybe we'll have one of those questions. Maybe that will be the subjective question.
Strongly agree, romantic.
It's right. All right, cool. We have one person. If you want to play the game, I think is Warren raising his hand.
Warren's back.
Warren's back. Good. We got Warren. I think this is a really good question. I really like this question. You're very welcome, Sam.
We have Liam.
Liam. All right, Liam. Liam, where are you from?
I'm from Philadelphia. I'm in California now.
You're in California. Can I ask where in California you're from?
Oceanside, California, San Diego County.
Nice. I have some very good friends of mine who live in San Diego. Michael Shermer lives in San Diego. I love San Diego. It's like one of the best the best weather ever.
We love you too, Dr. Boghossian.
You call me Peter, but yeah, I love it out there. I could totally live out there. San Diego is one of definitely the places where I could absolutely live. All right, we got John, Warren. YouTube is so nice. It's so different from Twitter. Everybody would be telling me to fuck off and then I'm a Nazi. So YouTube is really wonderful. It's so wonderful. I got to be on YouTube more often. That's the other thing, when we did these, when we did these, I was just so stunned by all the positive comments of these videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that I've been living in that, as James Lindsay says, the cesspool that follows you, which is Twitter. All right, let's see. We can do it with 3, but 4 would be good. Does anybody want?
We have one more person.
Is that Cullen? Do you want to do it, Cullen? No. Just is Cullen saying no?
We can't hear you, Cullen.
Colin, we can't hear you.
Yeah, check your mic. There we go.
You want to play?
Still can't hear you.
Still can't hear him. All right, I take it as a default no then.
Okay.
All right, cool.
We have Elijah back as well.
Elijah, where's Elijah? I love the name Liam, by the way. I've never known a bad Liam or Hannah or Lauren. Every Liam, Hannah, and Lauren I've known has been very cool.
Still can't hear you, Colin.
If I wanted to name my my daughter, who's adopted at 2.5, Hannah, but that didn't happen. All right, so review the rules of the game. The best arguments will always win in a good faith debate. I'm going to count back from 5. You cannot stand in the middle of the line. You can move anytime you want, or you could stay on the line. It's up to you. You just cannot stand in the middle of the line. Okay, so I'm going to read the claim again, count back from 5, and then you tell Reed where you want to go. The best arguments will always win in a good faith debate.
Strongly disagree.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. John, where are you? Where do you want to go?
Strongly disagree.
All right, John, strongly disagreeing. Okay. Warren, where do you want to go?
Strongly disagree.
Wow. Okay. I'm a little surprised by that. Okay. Liam, where do you want to go?
Strongly agree.
Ah, excellent. This is exactly what we like to have happen. Elijah, where do you want to go?
Disagree.
Oh, this is a nice mix. Okay, so I'm going to John and Warren, then Liam, then Elijah, just in the order. John, in 30 seconds, about 30 seconds, why do you strongly disagree?
Because let's say we have argument about a poop dollar. If everyone doesn't understand that the poop dollar, hello, if every
I don't think John is here.
John?
hello,
I think he's doing something through Discord or something.
oh, I'm getting cut out. I think people are stupid. Basically, they don't. Even if the good argument is there, they won't come to a conclusion. They will pick up the poop.
We're gonna let you go, John. Thanks for coming.
I think John. I think the poop dollar. I think John was trolling a little bit. He had me going because I kept thinking like a poop dollar. What's all right?
It sounded like the
It was good.
the lemur from Madagascar.
Yeah, he had me going for a second. I'm not sure what that accomplished, but okay. All right, Warren, what do you think?
I pick strongly disagree because I think the notion of best is highly subjective. In other words, facts are relatively objective. The meaning of facts, the value associated with facts is highly subjective. And I think somebody that can present well and tweak the amygdala with fear or hate can strongly sway. Another aspect is I believe in dialectic, not debate. In other words, the thick, messy narrative that holds perspectives in tension as opposed to a thin narrative, simplistic, one-side framing.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I just realized something. So Warren and Elijah, what if I change the question a little bit, kind of against the rules, but it's my game, so I could do that. What if I change it from the best arguments will always win in a good faith debate to the best arguments will usually win? Is that, would you, but I won't do it if people don't want me to, if people think it's unfair that I'm changing the question. Is that reasonable for me to change the question or no?
I think for me,
do you have a problem with that?
Yeah, the notion of best arguments, does that mean best from a logic perspective? Are we talking about a wicked problem where a lot of this is very much values based, depending on your story, where you've been wounded? We're talking about objective facts, so it's
so we can talk about best after we talk about always.
Okay.
I'm gonna change always to usually, and then if you guys want to move, that's cool, because I think that just makes a stronger question. I think. All right, do you guys want to move?
It doesn't influence my spot at all.
You're cool, Elijah. Liam?
He's already on strongly agree.
Yeah. Warren? I think Liam you cut out.
You could move me to disagree maybe with that change.
Okay. Yeah, I just think it makes the question stronger. Liam, did you want to move or stay the same or what? Oh, you're muted. You're still muted. I love that name, Liam Lawless. I think we can't get him. All right, Liam. Let me go to Elijah. Elijah, what's your best argument?
I think the best way I can think to put it is like I used to be a debate kid back when I was in high school and middle school, and I've just had a lot of arguments like that, and I'm just generally argumentative, and I think it comes down a lot to the skill of the people arguing and what resources they have available to them in terms of like I don't know what kind of like statistics and evidence they have versus like someone who doesn't. And so I think it comes down to a lot of factors besides just both people having the best intentions and like listening to each other and all that.
Okay, and do you think that their background matters? Like, do you think that what if somebody comes in with a deficiency of knowledge in a certain subject area and they have a conversation I don't like the phrase in good faith, but we'll use it, but in good faith, and the person is really knowledgeable. I'm just going to make this up. You don't have to agree with this or not. I'm just throwing this out there. Like, let's say that someone's like Paul Wolfowitz, this really knowledgeable super neocon about, going on these American excursions all over the world, bombing people and remaking civilization, super knowledgeable. And the person with whom he's having that discussion is good faith, but not particularly smart, not particularly knowledgeable, not particularly educated. They sway them. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Actually, well, no matter which way it goes, like whether or not the person who's uneducated or educated sways the other person. I'm not sure which one you're indicating. Which one are you indicating?
It would seem to me in that case, the best arguments wouldn't usually win. The person with the best rhetorical skills. And it would also seem to me in that case, and I'm thinking through this myself right now, that if a person comes in with a kind of educational or cognitive deficit, but they're acting in good faith, they could be taken advantage of, not necessarily by the stronger argument, but by better rhetoric or someone who's particularly charismatic.
I totally agree with that. Like I think, or even I think that like whether or not like the Earth revolves around the sun, right? Like you can have a heated debate with that. You went back like however many years ago before when everyone was still geocentric. You could have somebody try and propose a new ideas in good faith. It doesn't necessarily indicate which way it's going to go. So yeah, I guess that's why I'm on the disagree, just because I don't think it doesn't usually swing way or the other. I think good faith will definitely help like the better argument win, but I don't think it necessarily necessitates or puts it in like a usually even. I don't think that influential.
Okay, and so why wouldn't the argument I just gave? So I think that the argument I just gave, would be enough to move someone from strongly agree to agree. We'll find out when Liam's monitor is frozen in a second, but we'll find out for a minute second. But would that be enough to move you to from the disagree to the strongly disagree?
Yeah, I think the only reason why I went to disagree and not strongly disagree was just because I definitely think like good faith helps. You know what I mean? And that's why I went to disagree and not strongly disagree. But I'm indifferent between the two. I think strongly disagree also is totally I totally go there as well.
Okay, so I can't move you unless you tell me you want to be moved. So if you tell me you want to be moved, I'll be moved. If you don't want to be moved, I won't move you.
I'll stick where I am for now.
Okay, all right, Liam. So is my argument sufficient to move you to neutral? Usually don't you make such dramatic jumps, but
so I don't think so at the moment, because it hinges kind of on the word best, and I think to some extent in the context of argument, in the context of argument I can take the word best to mean truest. I don't know if that's fair or not. But if somebody gives me a very eloquent argument or a very charismatic argument for taking the life of another person, I'm going to evaluate all facets of that argument, the eloquence, the charisma, and also what they're trying to convince me to do. And so it wouldn't be the best argument, because in the end, the end result is, not preferable.
Okay, I'm buying that. I've heard Warren. I'm buying that. Reed, I want to try something. And if you think this is I shouldn't do this, let me know.
Okay.
What do you think of me changing the claim again to take their feedback into account, to eliminate the word best and put true arguments will usually win in a good faith debate, or the most true or more true, something with the word true in there.
Okay. If that's what you mean by best, then you're just clarifying the argument. Or the claim.
Right. Because it could be that someone, by best, they have validity. Everything is just the structure is great.
How about the most valid and sound arguments?
Yeah, the most valid and sound arguments usually win in a good faith debate. I'm hoping that's going to answer Warren's point without having to modify the claim again. I really don't like to modify the claim.
We may have made it worse.
We may have made it worse. I hope I didn't make it worse. We can always put in best again. So Warren, are you upset now? Are you satisfied? How are you feeling right now, Warren?
Well, as a technical project manager who distills the wisdom of the group, if we're talking about, I've worked in healthcare and I'm currently working in space technology. If we're talking about things that are more facts, yeah, I think that kind of resonates. But consider the question: if the claim was this, is the Catholic Church good or bad? Imagine if you or somebody had been molested by a priest. Your story is going to highly filter any argument that supports good things that Catholics have done, and vice versa. With the Catholics have done wonderful things with Catholic charities, and if your mother was saved from dying in a Catholic hospital, or you were in poverty and Catholic charities rescued you from the street, you're going to have a very different opinion. So it kind of depends on the nature of the subject matter.
Okay. All right. We're going to bracket that and come back to it. Do you have a comment on that?
No.
You can comment too. You can jump in.
I'm dealing with a lot.
Okay. I know you are.
Pay attention.
Liam, did you want to comment on what Warren said, or do you have anything to think about? Because they strongly agree. That's and do you still strongly agree now that we've reformulated the statement?
I think I do. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think, I think Reed said it was more clarifying the claim for me, because I was taking, in the context of argument, like I said, best to mean truest.
That's how I took it. That's how I took it too. That was my interpretation too.
I do very much agree with what Warren just said in terms of, good and bad are, almost absolutely value judgments. And so, those are, if you'll forgive the turn of phrase, colored by, our experience and, what all types of things, people telling us what we should believe and all sorts of things like that. But I think when we're using language, not flippantly, but the way that we use it in common parlance, like when somebody says something is the best, I'm going back into that catalog of, everything I've experienced and trying to evaluate things based upon, what I know and can say the best is, given that.
Yeah, that's totally reasonable. Elijah, what are you thinking?
I'm really starting to get hung up on I don't really have a set as what everyone else thinks win means in this context. So I think that's really the operative word.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm not exactly sure what
that's another
we
one
mean
too.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one too. I remember when I saw that, I'm thinking, okay, win. The most we can change this. It's going to be totally unrecognizable. Next thing you know, will be like, coffee is best when poured in the back seat of the Chevy. What if we changed win to the most valid and sound arguments will usually be sufficient to persuade others, or sufficient to instill doubt, or just keep win? But win is kind of a specific word.
Yeah.
I too was caught up on the win though.
How about enrich?
Then almost everybody I bet would go to the agree at least. I want to go back to Alex. Alex said, my number one problem with the street epistemology vids you do and I'm calling this a cousin to street epistemology, is that I tend to not like the semantics and wording of the questions, but that's what you do when you're seeking truth. I mean, that's what you do when you're trying to figure stuff out. That's what, like, you work through the questions, you change the questions, you agree upon definitions. I mean, this is an arduous process, and that's why we don't all know the truth. The other thing is, anybody can suggest, what's the name of that board that you used for this?
Miro.
Yeah, anybody can put in the questions. I didn't come up with this question. Okay. So I agree with everyone. I don't like the win. I am glad we changed the best. And I'm glad we changed the always to usually. That seemed like a low-hanging fruit one to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the other problem with changing the word so much, is that you kind of becomes chaos of the Old West. Like, you're no longer sticking to the claim. All right. Anybody have any thoughts on this, just in general?
I think asking the right question is really key here. And I still think, for me, I'm hung up on the word debate as opposed to dialectic.
Yeah, I agree.
In project management, like particularly in healthcare, I was looking at, patient, clinician, IT, and business stakeholder perspectives, current state and future state. And it was a matter of, as I facilitate a project meeting, I'm drawing out the wisdom, sometimes from the quiet ones, pushing back on the more belligerent ones. Sometimes the quiet ones have the best argument, but they don't have the rhetorical skills and confidence. So as facilitator, I'm creating the same page, a gestalt. So I'm not having a debate,
Right.
I'm having a dialectic to enrich and encompass all stakeholder perspectives. So I think even the framing as debate kind of grates with me a little bit professionally.
Yeah. Are you familiar at all with the Dr. Fox effect?
No.
It's really interesting. They had educators. This is older now. This has been replicated. Go in front of a classroom, and they had one person who was very boring and very dry, who knew exactly what they were talking about, and they made a detailed argument about something. And then they had someone who was an actor who basically spouted bullshit, but was charismatic and really out there. And they did self-assessments at the end of the, I think it was an hour lecture, if memory serves me correctly. And overwhelmingly, and this has been replicated, overwhelmingly, people loved the, they said they learned more from the fake Dr. Fox as opposed to the actual expert in the subject. So I think that's good.
But
I
for
also
moral
want to say,
concerns, I would start a cult.
yeah, right. I also want to say, someone wrote in the chat, and it's absolutely correct, that one of the things when you do this is you constantly refining, right? You're refining, you're figuring out in conversation with someone what it is that's meaningful to you, that you want to get at, that you're talking about. I think we should throw out the magic box exercise too.
We could do that.
We call that progressive elaboration in project management.
Progressive elaboration?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
When I do that one-on-one with Gary, the magic box.
Yeah, all right. Let's do that with Gary, the magic box. All right. Well, first of all, let me just say thanks, guys, for participating. And so sorry we had to change the claim so much. I feel a little bit bad about that. But I think sometimes that's just important to do, right?
Yeah, we're still experimenting with this channel.
And this is our first time we've ever done this. So
yeah, we just thought to do this last night. So
yeah,
it's kind of last minute thing.
Over drinks, by the way.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, thanks everybody. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for participating, guys. Poop dollar.
Yeah.
Poop dollar. All right, we're gonna try something new with Gary. My buddy
Hello?
Nathan. Hey Gary, can you hear us?
Yeah, what was that poop dollar stuff about?
Oh, I think he was a troll, but it was kind of funny.
Oh, it's still there. It's the same guy. I bet.
No, it is not. I am not a poop dollar man. What the fuck are you talking about?
You gotta purchase the Manicam. You gotta get that out of there.
Peter, before you kick me, listen, you have to
right.
gate this, because there's gonna be bad people that come in and say really bad things, worse than poop dollar.
It's okay. We'll cut it out later.
Yeah, or not. I don't really
I
care
love you,
either way,
Peter.
I love you less now, but that's good.
What?
You know, I knew it was a fake accent from I knew it was a fake accent, but I figured out, well, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Anyway.
All right, cool. So let's get Gary in there. Hey man. Hey Gary.
That was Gary.
Oh, that was Gary.
I think we've run out of people to potentially participate.
Oh, we need one more person to try the magic box exercise, preferably someone we haven't done this with.
Yeah, the link is in the chat.
Yeah, if you want to participate, if you really want to, the scum of the earth, you should tweet this out, and then you get everybody. You should tweet this out, then the rage machine will keep going at you.
Oh man, yeah.
All right, we need one more person to try the magic box experiment. And again, this is an experiment for me too. I just learned about this from what's Nathan's channel?
Abstract Activist.
Abstract Activist, and Nathan is someone who's on our team, and he's a unique character. Nathan, he's a unique character. He lives here in Portland. We're fortunate that Reed is up here with me now in Portland. Travis is in Portland. Lita is in Portland. Most of the team is in Portland, so we're fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna try the magic box. You might have to help coach me with this a little bit.
All right.
Okay. Who wants to try the magic box exercise? Raheem?
Did we talk with Raheem before?
I don't think so. Maybe did we? I don't know.
Hello, Raheem.
How's it going?
Hey Raheem,
Right?
how you doing? How are you doing, man?
Hear me?
I can hear you. Where are you from? I hear like an island accent.
That is exactly it. Yeah, from England.
Oh, I've been to your island. Is someone else was on your island? Do you know the other person for who was participating from your island?
No, there's quite a few of us on the island, so no, I don't know him.
Really? Wow, it's a big island then.
Yeah, just a
big island. All right, so we're gonna try something different with you today. This is a technique that I just learned from our friend Nathan. So I'm gonna ask Reed for help when we do this.
Yeah, I wonder if we could find that video where we explain it.
Yeah, so Reed is gonna find a video explaining the magic box, and then he's gonna play that video.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Chrome tab, this one, share audio.
God, Reed, I could never do this. This is so way above my
Can
level.
we see this? So let's watch this 2-minute video, and then we'll try this.
Cool.
With Raheem. Is that working right?
Yep. The box of truth thought experiment is it goes like this. Imagine we have before us a box of truth, and we can ask this box any question we want. And when we ask the question, we can open it up and look inside, and it gives us everything that we need to see to believe something is or is not the case. And it gives us the reasons why. Is there any question we would not want to ask this box? Is there something that would prevent us from asking the box to get to whatever is true? And then I usually follow up. A lot of people, like when they hear that, they think of a lot of horrible things that they wouldn't want to know. So then a follow-up question is, if you could only ask the box questions about your own mind, that would lower your confidence. So in other words, the box can only show you the ways in which you are mistaken about a thing. Would you then still hesitate to ask the box any question? Or are you okay with discovering that you were mistaken about something? And then the third question usually is like, what's your first question? Like, what is the thing you want to know most?
Oh, wow.
And these questions, like this thought experiment, I thought of as a way to externalize. Like, imagine you come across something rather than rationalizing a thing. You come across something external from yourself that helps you to discover something new. And I want to like kind of paint that picture, like that there might be something hypothetically that could change your mind about a thing. And so, yeah, that's a thought experiment. I think it's great to kind of like get the mind ready to accept hypotheticals. So this is usually a thought experiment I do before I offer up hypotheticals to see if someone would even entertain disconfirmation criteria for their beliefs, because I run up against a lot of resistance for disconfirmation criteria.
As soon as he said 100%, I think the conversation should have switched to talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So let's try that. I've just learned about this, and we've practiced it a little bit yesterday on the streets. It's a version of Loftus's outsider test.
Yep.
A version. All right, Raheem. I have a magic box, and I'm going to hand you the magic box. And when you look into the magic box, and help me out here, Reed, if I screw this up. When you look into the magic box, you will have the answers to any questions you ask.
Okay.
Is there any question you would not want to ask the magic box?
No.
Okay.
I'm comfortable asking any question.
Okay. What do you ask the box?
What do I ask the box? At first, I was going to go with, does God exist? But I think that's just like a really subjective question.
That's fine too. You want to do that one? Is that the first one? That's usually the first one that comes to mind.
I think I'll go with a bit of race stuff. So I would like to think, why do black people or ethnic minorities feel hard done by when they are afforded the same opportunities?
Okay. So why do ethnic minorities feel, I think hard done by is a colloquialism of your island. Why do ethnic minorities feel slighted, maybe?
Yeah,
or,
slighted. Like, yeah, exactly.
So did you have that word over there?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. I'm just why do ethnic minorities feel slighted when they have the same minorities, the same opportunities as non-ethnic minorities? Is that a fair phrasing?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So what do you think the box would say?
I think the box would probably say that it's down to personal experience and that there's a bit of victim mentality in it at times. Yeah, I think that's what the box would come back with. But I think the box would say, yeah, you're afforded the same opportunities to a certain extent. So actually, I think this is where my bias is coming into play.
Yeah.
So I would think that, yeah, it would probably, trying to be as unbiased as possible, I think it would say that you are afforded the same opportunities, even though deep down inside, part of me is like saying no, not 100%, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it would seem to me that it's incumbent upon the societies to make sure those opportunities are 100%.
Correct, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think and this is the problem when people who advocate positions don't believe in reason, discussion, or debate. It's incumbent upon us in general, and me in particular, to come up with a reason or an argument better than they could give. So I'm going to try to give an argument or a reason that I've heard in general, but okay. So could the argument be that you don't get those opportunities when there's been a history of wealth generation among certain people? And this is the argument for equity. There's been a history of wealth generation for certain people, and that has denied other people the opportunity to accumulate wealth. So to balance that out, we need to make sure that those, for example, black people have more opportunities because they've had fewer in the past, because they haven't had as much time to gather wealth, and because we don't have equitable systems. That's why many minorities feel slighted by the system.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I also think that a lot of minorities focus on the idea of equal outcome rather than opportunities. They want to be placed into positions of power or authority or just where they can earn just because they are a minority.
Right.
And I think that's detrimental to Black or other minority people, to be honest.
Yeah, tell me why you think that.
Because it means you haven't earned it. So I believe you haven't learned how to get to a position. You haven't experienced the trials and tribulations that are needed to take the steps up the ladder in order to get to whatever your end goal is. So whether it's a CEO of a company or whether it's I don't know, just even a floor sweeper, you have to know how to get there. You shouldn't just get there because you're a part of a minority group. Be that.
Okay,
anybody.
so your argument is on that it's unfair to people. Well, your argument is kind of complex because there's multiple facets to it. One is that it's unfair to people who people should have to do the work, and if they haven't done the work, then it's unearned.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't mention the fact that if enough people believe that people with a certain skin color have not earned their positions, then there'll be a kind of deeper discrimination against them because they have those positions that they haven't earned.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, repeat that again. Sorry, I think I lost you a bit.
Yeah, no, I was unclear. So if people occupy positions because of their skin color and not because they've earned them as a result of some kind of meritocratic process, then other people will view like ethnic minorities in particular positions as they will be resentful toward them and they will view them as unqualified.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
And that in itself will start a new cycle of racism.
Yeah. Yeah. It almost, well, because you get it, speaking from a personal experience, like standpoint, you kind of get it. It's not racism, but it's like in-group discrimination based on your success and how you've gotten to there, based on how you speak, based on how you dress, based on the lifestyle you live, can be seen as being untrue to your group.
Yeah. So, a question I used to ask my students before the university went insane was, and then I'll ask you if you don't mind, are you more comfortable associating, and you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to.
Go on.
Are you more comfortable associating with people who are in a different social class but the same race, or a different race but the same social class? But did I say that right? A different. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you did say it right. What am I more comfortable with? To me, to be very honest, it doesn't matter. I'm very able to like or dislike or speak or not speak to individuals from every spectrum, literally every spectrum or class. I don't care. It's as long as you're.
So you don't have a preference, like you don't have a friend preference, or just, you're at a bar on the island or whatever, coconut hut on the island, and you're more a boat, you're on a pier on the island, and the guy next to you fishing, you'd be equally comfortable if he's a different race or if a different socioeconomic status, if he's rich or poor. Okay.
It doesn't bother me. I think there are times where if I'm surrounded by a certain amount of people, I can feel uncomfortable.
For sure. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if that's black, white, Asian, or whatever. I can feel uncomfortable. But if it's just me and another person, I can find both positive and negative in either of those people.
Okay. So back to the box then. So you want to know why people feel like that. I've offered what I think the box would say. Before I go on, any thoughts on that?
No, I kind of agree, and it's kind of highlighted a lot of what I've already thought about stuff from my own personal train of thought. So I think I'm in agreement with what the box would say so far.
Yeah. So I guess the next question would be, so I wrote this down. So you'd want to know any question that there's no question you'd be afraid to ask the box, like the hour of your own death.
No, I don't fear death. It's inevitable that with taxes, you
Right.
get, you're not gonna change that. As I said, my only thing would be if I'm wrong about my spiritual kind of view, I'd love the box to be able to say, yeah, you are right. But yeah.
Uh-huh. Would you rather know about your own spirituality? Would you rather know that you're right or that you're wrong?
I'd rather know I'm right. I wouldn't want to know I'm
Because then
wrong.
you wouldn't have. You would you rather know you're right because then you wouldn't have to do the work to figure out what was right?
No, I think I would rather know I'm right because of the work I've put into thinking I'm right, if that makes sense. So I've looked into things a lot, and if I'm proven wrong, I'd flip a table. I'd be really annoyed.
Interesting. All right, Raheem. Well, thanks for letting me try that little experiment out. We're going to be experimenting with that as we go on when we do more of these. So I appreciate you letting me be the guinea pig.
No worries. Thanks for having me
All right.
on.
All right, right on, man. Thanks, Raheem. All right, Reed. So that was interesting. I think we learned a lot. We got a lot done. We got some. I really like the fact that I didn't have to think about everything so much, that I could rely upon others, and they thought about things that I didn't think about. Lines of questioning. About things. So I think it was really helpful. If anybody would like us to do more of these, just let us know from the next time Reed's up here. If anybody would like to have a certain videos come out, let us know what you like, what kind of videos you'd like to see. We did a poll on YouTube, and the number one thing people wanted to see was one-on-one street epistemology.
Yeah.
I'm a little far from doing, I call this stuff the cousin of street epistemology. But if you'd like us to do specific things, if you'd like a specific claim, so tomorrow we're going to go out in Portland and we're going to do this stuff.
Yeah, we're going to go out tomorrow in Portland into a park somewhere, and we will let people know where we are once we get there.
Right. So we're not
going to get having surprises when we arrive.
Surprises. It's a very nice way to put it.
Yeah. And then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's funny. Some people are incredibly threatened by two guys or one guy, what have you, just asking other people questions about a whole bunch of things because they don't believe you should ask questions about things. They believe you should know the answers, and they believe that they know the answers that you should know. And if you don't have the answers that they should know, that they know you're a bad person.
Yeah.
Which the arrogance to that is just absolutely shocking to me. Shocking arrogance. All right, everybody. Thank you. We appreciate you coming to join our first event, our first live stream. And that's it. We good?
Yep, we are good. Thanks to everyone for the super chats as well.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate the super chats. You keep us going.
Yep. See you next time.
Ciao.